Shit, it's in the she ruckus. Deadbeat, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. You ain't a killer, boy, stop. I hear you yelling stacks on deck, boy, stop. I'm in the hood posting, I don't see you on the block. So if you see a figure, point him out, yell it, tell him just stop.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Big Llama Show. I am the Big Llama, here with another movie review. Actually, my first review. We're going to talk about the movie The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. In this movie, we have Kern County Deputy Sheriff Joe Deacon, who was sent to Los Angeles for what he should have been a quick evidence gathering assignment. Instead, he becomes embroiled in a search for a killer who is terrorizing the city. Joe Deacon is played by Denzel Washington. Leading the hunt is LA Sheriff's Department Sergeant Jim Baxter, played by Rami Malek. Impressed with Deke's cop instincts, unofficially engages his help. But as they track the killer, Baxter is unaware that the investigation is dredging up some old echoes of Deke's past, uncovering disturbing secrets that could threaten more than his case. Jared Leto is cast as a suspect who could be known as the serial killer. This movie starts out really promising. It starts off with a great suspenseful chase sequence where we're assuming the serial killer that they're looking for is chasing after a potential suspect. Within those first couple of minutes, you are gripped for this movie, and I would say that that's what got me hooked to this movie, is that whole intrigue of the first scene. As we move along to the movie and you meet Denzel Washington's character, it's not clear what he knows or exactly what he's about. Denzel Washington plays this sort of naive type character in the beginning. With the way that he wears that character, you can definitely tell there's more to the character underneath. There's something more happening. Something else is going on. He's not just a common sheriff's deputy in a small town. There's more to it, but you don't really get that impression from the first couple of minutes of the movie. In fact, you follow him along, you're not really sure what's going on. He is sent to the big city where all of a sudden he's a pretty known character. People are starting to recognize him, people are starting to make reactions. And that is a great part of Denzel's performance. He doesn't say a whole lot, he's very stoic in a lot of the scenes, but as you sort of start to open up the envelope and start to see what happens with Denzel, you realize there's more to meets the eye. Now, where the movie sort of falters a little bit is when Denzel meets the sheriff, the sergeant, which is played by Rami Malek. There's not a whole lot to Rami Malek's character development. It really is just, here's the old, scruffy, grizzled detective meeting the new young guy. And what I would have liked to have seen there is more development into why Rami Malek is sort of this big character and why he's such an important person. Now, as the movie develops and they're looking for clues, Denzel Washington starts to sort of have visions and starts to have different things that he's looking at. It's through these visions and through these flashbacks that you start to realize the bigger role that Denzel Washington's character plays. And that's where the movie does get very intriguing as you start to dig into Deke's character. And in Deke's character, again, there's more than meets the eye. He is constantly being revealed as something more. And it turns out he had a big history at that department, and he had to leave. The more you find out from it, the better the story gets. And again, Rami Malek's character is not fully fleshed out. So again, you find yourself wondering why he's there or what's going on with him. Where the movie tends to take a sideways turn is when they meet the suspected serial killer in Jared Leto's character, appropriately named Albert Sparma. I mean, if that's not a serial killer's name, I don't know what is. But Jared Leto plays this character pretty creepy, very almost like a hollowed out version of himself, but sometimes you feel like he might be overdoing it, but he's just a very intriguing character. This movie is set in the 90s, and it doesn't offer a lot of nostalgia bits, other than you realize that there was no cell phone usage and they're using a lot of pagers and public phones. But it's not really sort of a romanticizing of the 90s or a throwback to, hey, remember that was the 90s. It really, I think, is just sort of set in that time frame to give you a probably more simplistic look at solving cases. It is reminiscent, though, of movies like Seven, The Bone Collector. It's not on that level, but it's trying to recreate some of that magic of those looking for the serial killer sort of premise. It is sort of recycled premise. You've seen it before, but the fact that you have 3 Oscar winners in this movie would sort of signify that there's a great deal of good material here. Unfortunately, there isn't, but it doesn't make the movie that less interesting or worth watching. I won't spoil the ending. No spoilers here. The movie starts to go wrong is when you start to reach the climax or the end of the fourth act of the movie, and really what's happening in this part is you're trying to wrap it up, and what you're finding out is that things are not always what they seem. And there's subtle clues. If you want a movie that's going to sort of wrap everything up at the end in a pretty little bow and you find out who's who, this is not that movie. But it does make you think. For me, I enjoyed the movie. I would say it's definitely worth watching. I'm glad that it was streaming on HBO Max and not in the theaters. This was not a movie that I would say that I would go to the theaters to go see. I really probably would have preferred it to be a straight to streaming release. Could it have made a ton of money? Because of those 3 bankable stars that you have there, all 3 Oscar winners, this would have been a movie that could have made some money. So in the end, the Llama would recommend that you do go see this movie. If you have HBO Max, it's a great 2-hour film that you can check out. I would give it a rating of a C+, almost a B. It gets close to a B because of the performances of those stars. They really carry the film, and the other characters are pretty forgettable. I would give this movie a C+. That's my rating. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. The Llama recommends this movie for anybody who wants to catch up on a good crime thriller. It is intriguing, and the score and the music is well done, and it does accompany it very well, and it adds to that creepiness factor of this movie. So again, that's my review. If you like it, hit me up on the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think of the ending. I'm not going to spoil the ending. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but for those of you who've seen it, leave me in your comments what your thoughts are on that. Again, if you like what you see here, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you share with others. Let me know if you agree with my recommendation. If you don't, that's okay. That's what the comment section is for. Make sure you like and subscribe this video. Subscribe to my channel for more updates on when I post videos. Again, I'm the Big Llama. This is the Big Llama Show. Peace out.
The one for me lately, I'd never lose you, baby. You're the one I keep as my prima donna, my only ruby. You are the one for me.
Yeah, I tell her, baby, you're the one for me. Never two unless you tell her.